back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to cut the back of a princess dart. So you can use, normally you can use princess dart also at the back, or you can even use this type of bodice for the back, and then you just have to dart it here, and then you have your zip allowance. So you can use this plain bodice, or you can also put in the princess dart at the back. So to do the princess back at the dart, all you have to do is to fold your fabric into two. Right, I folded my fabric into two now, and then the width of the fabric I'm working with in total here from this end to this end is basically my bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra 4 inches, divided by 4, because you know your front bodice, whenever you're cutting, you always cut the front body separately and the back body separately, right? So you cut 2 panels for the back and then 2 for the front. Just like you cut on a fold for the front, you cut on a fold for the back. So the fold in front is 1, 2, and then the fold you're using for the back is also 2. So in total, that 2 in front and 2 at the back is the reason why you always divide by 4. So now to cut this now, all we have to do is, guys, the bust measurement I'm working with here, like I said, is going to be 40 divided by 4 is going to be 10, and then extra 4 inches for all the seam allowances I'm going to be needing here. So basically you're going to use your bust measurement divided by 4 and extra 4 inches for the seam allowances. So out of that, now I've marked out 1.5 for my zip allowance. This is going to be my zipper allowance. So now we are going to start inserting all the other measurements, starting from this line. So now starting from this line here, now I'm going to insert my shoulder measurement, which is 16 divided by 2 is going to be 8. I'm going to mark that here, and then from that point I'm going to come down by 1 inch, and then the shoulder to waist I'm working with also is about 16 inches. I added 1 inch to it, so that's 17 inches. 1 inch is going to be for half an inch of the shoulder and half an inch for the bottom part here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my neckline 3 inches, and then from this 1 inch that I came down by here, I'm going to connect it up to this 3 inches mark here. Like I said, we need that half an inch for this shoulder panel, right? We need the half an inch to join the shoulder. So I'm going to just mark it at the moment, and then I'm going to connect it. So now we only have the half an inch to join the bottom part here. So I've marked that half an inch out. So now from that second this half an inch line that we've made, remember we came down 1 inch, connected it to this part here, and then the second line we drew in is just for our seam allowance to join the shoulder pattern. So from the end of that our seam allowance, you're going to insert your armhole. The armhole I'm working with is 18 divided by 2 is going to be 9. I'm going to mark 9 here, and then I'm going to just connect it all the way up to this part here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my bust measurement. My bust measurement, like I said before, is 40 inches, right? So I'm going to go ahead and mark 40 divided by 4 is going to be 10. And if you see, all my markings are starting from here. So that 10 inches, I'm going to just connect it here. And then from that point, I'm just going to give it a curve for my armhole. And once I've given it this curve, all I have to do next is just to place my my tape this way, and then figure out halfway through this what is going to be, right? So what I have from this beginning to this part, so I have 10 inches. So halfway through that 10 inches is going to be 5 inches. So guys, what I measured to get it is I started from this part here and placed my tape to measure out this curve up to this point. So it was 10 inches. Halfway through that 10 inches is going to be somewhere here, which is 5 inches. So at this 5 inches mark now, the next thing we're going to do is you're going to go up by 1 inch. If you want, you can go up 1.5. I'm just going to go up 1 inch from this point here. And then the next thing we are going to do is to mark our shoulder to your bust. So my shoulder to bust that I'm working with is going to be at this 10 inches mark, and then my shoulder to my under bust is going to be at this 13 inches mark. For some people it can be 14 inches, it can be 15 inches. This is your shoulder to your under bust mark. It can be 14, it can be 13, it can be 15. It depends on how busty the person is. And then you're going to mark your shoulder to your waist. So for me, that is about 16.5, which is somewhere here. And then I have extra half an inch to join the bottom part also. Remember, we had extra 1 inch here and then here. So now the next thing you're going to do is to go in here and on this your waistline. So the next thing we're going to do is to put our nipple to nipple measurement. The nipple to nipple I'm working with is 8 So divided by 2 is 4. I'm going to add half an inch to it, 4.5. But on this line, I'm going to remove that half an inch that I added. So it's going to be just 4 inches here and then 4 inches here. For you, it can be 7. For you, it can be anything. So whatever you get from one distance of one nipple to the other, divide it by 2 and add half an inch to it. You're going to insert that measurement here. So mine is 8, like I said, divided by 2 is 4. I added half an inch to it, so 4.5 is the distance from here to here. And then on this line, I removed the half an inch and put in the 4 inches, and the same on this one. So all you have to do now is to connect this line together and then connect this one to this. Just you can use your ruler just to be safe, and then connect these two together. And then from here now, you're not going to connect it all the way to this halfway through this line. You're going to use the 1 inch that you went up by, which is here. Remember, our whole sleeve thing here was 5 inches halfway through, right? Because it was 10, halfway through was 5, but we went up by 1 inch for this part here. So all I have to do now is just to connect this to this one here. So now you see we have this line connected. So we've made our dart. So the next thing you have to do is just to, on this line now, you're going to extend it just so that your dart can be able to line up properly. Because if once you go to join this curve, one might shorten. So to make up for that line, that 1 inch, I'm going to add it here. So I'm going to add 1 inch distance at this top part here. So mark that here and then connect it again. So this is now my new armhole for this bottom part, this way. So you see, I've added 1 inch on this line. So I've made up that line that is missing. Now the next thing that you have to do is just to add our seam allowance, and this is done. So how you're going to do it is, bust measurement divided by 4 for me was 10, right? I've marked 10. So I'm going to add 2 inches now. Remember, I'm marking everything from my zip allowance line. So bust measurement was 40, divided by 4 is 10. I marked it here. I'm going to add extra 2 inches for my seam allowance. That is here. You see, I've used up all the space. This 2 inches is because, remember, we're going to split this line. And once you split it, when you go to sew it, you need to pull it back again. So you need half an inch on this side, half an inch on this side to seam this whole thing back, right? To sew it together. So that half an inch that you're using is going to take away from this 1 inch on the side. And then the remaining 1 inch is going to be for your seam allowance. So I'm going to do the same thing on this way, on this underbust. You're going to measure right around their underbust. For me, I'm working with 35 for their underbust. So 35 divided by 4 is going to be 8.75. I'm going to mark that here. Plus 2 inches, that's going to be 10.75. So I'm going to also mark that here. The same thing on the waistline. I'm going to divide, the waist I'm working with is 32. Divided by 4 is 8. So I'm going to just mark 8 here, right? And then plus that extra 2 inches again. So that is going to be 10 inches, right? So I'm going to mark that here. So you see 2 inches seam allowance for each side. So I'm going to connect this to this part, connect it to the bust. So just like that, I'm going to cut this whole thing out. So for the back neckline here, you can use 1 inch for the back neckline. You can use 2 inches for the back neckline. I'm just going to do 1.5 here, connect it this way. So now all you have to do is to go ahead and cut this thing out. So I'm going to, you see, I extended this neckline down here. It can be a rounder neckline with a boat neck, which can go all the way like this, go in between the sleeve this way. It can be like a lower back. It can be whatever, but just for the basic one, I'm just going to use this 1.5 depth here. And now we are cutting it out. So guys, you see we have it now. So now I've cut out this neckline. Now the next thing we are going to do is to go down here and cut this part out. So you're going to cut all the way to this point, and then so from here I'm going to go in this way, follow this line this way all the way down, and then this is separated, guys, you see. And then now on this side, all I have to do is just to cut it this way. And then you cut at the top of this part here. You see, I've cut this part, and then now you're going to cut out this excess on the side from this side here. So that's basically what we are cutting here. And then after this, now this is the back here, and then after this now we have to also cut out from the top of the shoulder, that 1 inch here. So you see, basically what we cut out is the neckline, then we cut down all the way to this part, went in all the way down here, and then that 1 inch is still here because we need it to make up for this line. And then you're going to cut out your armhole and then the excess on the side. That's basically what you're cutting. And then I'm also going to split open the back zip allowance, so that, because remember, you're supposed to have 2 pieces at the back. So split it open now. You have this. So 1 on each side. This is basically what we are working with. And guys, remember, always whenever you're making a bodice, if you want the zip to balance properly, you're going to go up here by 1 inch, and then you're going to go up here by 1 inch, so that your zip will not bulk up. 1 inch, remove it here, and then you're going to use your ruler to blend it up to this edge like this, and then you cut it out. This, you could have done this before cutting this open so that it doesn't move, but just this is how you're going to do it. Just mark 1 inch here and blend it out, and then you're going to cut this part out. It helps your zip to relax better. So that's basically it for cutting this bodice here. So all you have to do now is just to go to the sewing machine, take one piece here. You see, this is one side of the back, one side of the back. All you have to do here, you see the 2 sides of the back here. All you have to do is take this here, place it like this. You see, just place it like this, and then you're going to sew it down this way, all the way down, and then it's going to fit in properly, just like this. The same on this side too, it's going to fit in. Once you sew it, this side, this excess here is going to fit in. Don't worry about it. So it's going to fall in place, and then you put in your sleeve, or if it's sleeveless, whatever you're doing, that's going to be it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.